What's up, my dudes? It's Turd, your PS4 Dead by Daylight educational content creator. Now, I realize it's been a long time since I made a killer video, and I need to show those killer mains out there that I have some love for them as well. So this video is going to be the nurse guide for beginners. Now, I play on PS4, so my focus will be that, but the information will translate on any platform you play. Now, there are already videos out there on this exact same shit, and I recommend that you still check those out, especially the Otofu's Nurse's Guide. It helped me tremendously. However, the problem with most of these videos is that it's a beginner's guide, but coming from someone who's already mastered the nurse, giving the viewers a false identity that it's easy, when in all reality, becoming skilled at the nurse is very challenging. So why would my video be any different from those videos? Well, I still consider myself a beginner. I've only played 15 to 20 trials as the nurse. But at least when you watch my video and I go over my gameplay, I will be going over the good things that I do, the bad things that I do, any mistakes that I make, and show you that it takes some time. It takes a lot of practice. You're not just gonna get this right off the bat. So even though I'm starting to see improvement in my nurse gameplay, I definitely have a lot to learn. So if you're a nurse main or skilled with the nurse, please leave comments giving any tips or advice to those who are beginners with the nurse, and feel free to leave constructive criticism about my gameplay. Tell me what I'm doing right, tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I need to work on. Now, don't just tell me I'm a fucking potato. That's not going to help anyone. So Rudy, Michael, and Chad from the Facebook community, I'm talking to you guys. Please leave comments helping me and to help others on how to become a better nurse. Now, before we get too far along into this video, you need to ask yourself, do you have what it takes in you to become a good nurse? Because at the start, you're going to suck balls. I think I went 3 or 4 trials before I even got a blink hit on a survivor. If you're the type of killer that tunnels or face camps or rage quits and DCs because things aren't going your way, then 1, you're a little fucking bitch, and 2, this killer is not for you. So you might as well stop watching the video now and go play your fucking face camping Bubba. Okay, so there are steps that I think you need to take before you even start your first trial as the nurse. First things first, you gotta learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk. I don't recommend the nurse being the first killer you ever play. Learn the basics of how to be a killer before you try to take on being the hardest killer in the game. I highly recommend that you have a good amount of blood points to dump into the nurse before you even start your first trial. This way you can get perks and you can get add-ons to make it a little bit easier on yourself. And before you start dumping blood points into Sally's web, make sure you have the other killer's teachable perks that you want already unlocked, so that once you start putting blood points in, there is a chance that you could get those perks in your web. Which brings me to my next point. Identify the style of gameplay that you want your nurse to have. For me, I want my nurse to be very aggressive, applying tons of map pressure by hitting multiple targets using a snowball effect and having survivors leave their generators in order to heal or recover their dying teammate. This is the perfect perk build for the style of gameplay that I want my nurse to have. So if any of these perks were in my blood web, I was going to snag them up, because this is the end goal. This is the perk build that I want when I'm comfortable playing as the nurse. But these perks require you to injure survivors, down survivors, and hook survivors. And let's be honest, you're not going to do that right away. This is the perk build that helped me learn how to use the nurse. These are your training wheel perks, and they're going to help you tremendously. Whispers is a universal perk that any killer can get. At tier 3, you're going to hear an audio cue letting you know that there is a survivor within a 32-meter radius of you. By default, the nurse's first blink will go 20 meters. Her second blink will go an additional 12 meters, which equals 32 meters. So what Whispers is going to do is help you with your max ranged full blink attack. Spies from the Shadows is another one of those universal perks that you can get in any killer's blood web. At tier 3, if a survivor disrupts any crow within a 36-meter range of you, you're going to get a visual cue of their location. On average, a survivor is going to disrupt anywhere from 25 to 50 crows per trial. That's potentially 100 to 200 notifications that you're going to get of where the survivor's location is. That's extremely important when you're trying to learn how to blink attack with the nurse. I'm All Ears is a ghost-faced level 30 teachable perk. If any survivor performs a medium or a fast vault within a range of 48 meters of you, their aura is going to be revealed for 6 seconds. This is going to come in handy when a survivor gets to a jungle gym and vaults a window. You're going to see their aura and which direction they're going and be able to practice how to blink through walls to get a hit on a survivor. A Nurse's Calling is a nurse perk, so you already have it. And at tier 3, you're going to see the aura of any healing action within 28 28 meters. So if a survivor's healing themselves within 28 meters, you're gonna see that. If 2 survivors are healing another survivor, you're gonna see all 3 auras. This is huge for practicing your single blink attacks. So you're gonna see the survivor's aura and you're gonna judge the distance between you and them. And you're gonna blink once, very precise, and right up their asshole. Okay, we spawn in at Rancid,
Abattoir,
a Coldwind Farm slaughterhouse. And anytime I spawn in, whether it's killer or survivor, I try to take in as much information as I can right off the bat. I already see 4 generators, and as the camera spins, I see the remaining 3 generators and that I'm right next to Kill Shack, which means that I spawned in this corner right here. Based on the information that I've already gathered, I know where I spawned in relationship to the map. I know where exactly all 7 generators are. I got one that spawned in the jungle gym in the corner of the map over here. I got one that's on the opposite side of this tree right in front of me. I got one that spawned always inside the slaughterhouse. I got one that spawned in the cornfield right here. I got one that spawned in the corner of the map over in this direction. I got one that spawned in the jungle gym right here. And in the far side of the map, another one that spawned in the jungle gym. This map is survivor sided. However, the gen spawn RNG that I got is in my favor. You can obviously see that there are 5 generators on one side of the map and only 2 on the other side, which I'm currently on right now. I also know that the survivors are going to spawn on this arc on the opposite side of the map. So I'm going to head to this generator and try to apply pressure right away. As I head to my destination, I glance over to see if there's a survivor at the god spawn. And I had to do a double take because I almost missed that. So let me explain to you what's going on in my mind, because I always talk about situational awareness, and this is very important. So I have 2 options right now. I know that I have a survivor at the god spawn, and I know that I have 3 survivors that spawned over here. Ultimately, I want these 2 generators to be repaired. That way I only have half the map to patrol, making it a lot easier for me later in the game. So I could leave the survivor at the god spawn to work on a generator that I already want to be repaired and head across the board. The problem that I see with this is that I can only chase 1 survivor at a time. So the other 2 survivors are going to be working on generators. Now, the time that it's going to take for me to get to that area, find a survivor, chase the survivor, hit the survivor twice, hook the survivor, and then get into another chase, they're going to pop at least 1, if not 2 generators on this side, and I've already forfeit the generator on the other side of the board. So because I'm the nurse, and I have the ability to blink onto the survivor at the god spawn who's digging through a chest, and get an easy hit within less than 10 seconds of the trial even starting, if I can get that survivor on a hook fairly quickly, 1 or 2 of the survivors on the other side are going to be forced to come over to this side to get the unhook. Well, let's say only 1 survivor goes for the unhook. Well, as soon as I hook the survivor, I'm going to blink to the other side of the board and give chase to one of these 2 survivors, meaning only 1 survivor will be working on a generator on this side of the board. And now there are 2 survivors on the other side of the board working on the generators that I want them to finish. Now, I want to make sure that I'm close enough to do a single blink attack of 20 meters so that she doesn't react to my second blink and I miss. Here's my first mistake. I should have followed the survivor up the excavator, forcing her down to the ground floor, and then using that vantage point to blink straight on top of her for an easy down. And because of that mistake, she probably has enough distance to be out of range for my double blink. Nia comes in to body block for Yui, which is a smart play, but it's also exactly what I want. I want survivors from the other side to be on this side of the board. I could blink hit Nia here, but I'll gladly take wood to the face to get God Palette out of the game. I hear Yui crying, and there's no reason to blink here because the window is on the opposite side of Kill Shack. Watch out for that tree. It came out of nowhere. Only 1 survivor screamed from infectious fright, indicated by these red directional arrows. And I already knew Nia was there, duh. But more importantly, it tells me that the other 2 survivors are not within 32 meters of me, otherwise they would have screamed also. So I'm going to break God Palette and give chase to Nia in hopes that it pulls the other 2 survivors away from objectives to come save Yui. By default, it's going to take Yui 30 seconds to recover fully from dying state. And if the survivors leave right now, it's going to take them at least 10 seconds to get to Yui, depending on how far away they are when they start to run towards her. So I have anywhere from 26 to 40 seconds to chase Nia before Yui's recovered. Fuck, that was a really good play by Nia, and I've already evaluated that she is a strong survivor. Though I will say, if I was on PC, with a quick flick of the mouse, I could do a 180-degree turn instantaneously and that would have been a hit. But because I'm on console and I have analog sticks, it's just hard to do a short blink, turn 180 degrees, and get the attack. The turning radius is just not the same as it is in PC. And for those who are wondering, my sensitivity set for killers is at 80%. So we'll go ahead and hook Yui in the basement, and they finish a generator on the side of the board that I wanted. So this just shows how my strategy, my situational awareness worked. Barbecue and Chili shows me the auras of 2 survivors. One is opening up a chest, and the other one is coming in hot for the save. Once you start feeling like you can dump some of your training wheel perks, I highly suggest that Barbecue and Chili is one that you throw in first. This perk is a must-have for Nurse. So there was no time wasted going in for the save. So I can assume that Nia has borrowed time. So I might as well test it by hitting Yui, just to make sure so I can have that information for later. Now, I don't know if the survivors meant to do this or if it just happened, but they did a really good job executing this, and I want to explain what they did here. Nia saves Yui with borrowed time, and Yui takes the hit with borrowed time, which is a textbook play. Now, it turns out there's another Nia waiting in the stairwell to take the second hit. And then the initial Nia that saved Yui takes another hit for Yui so that she doesn't go down. A perfect blink countered by a perfect dead hard. And I don't know what Yui's doing here. She obviously has decisive strike, but just because you have DS doesn't mean I'm going to pick you up. And you're actually hurting your teammates because you're on the floor doing nothing. Other survivors are going to have to come heal you, and you're playing right into my strengths. Okay, I lost that survivor, but that's no big deal. I'll just cruise back towards Yui to see if anyone's recovering her. Oh hey, I haven't seen this survivor yet. Welcome to the party. Great double back by Cheryl, but a god-awful chain blink by me. I should have just fatigued there. The Nurse's movement speed is 96.25%, which is slower than a survivor, and her basic lunge attack is the smallest in the game. So I definitely need to get used to that because I make some really shitty swings here. Like, I look really bad right here. Like, I mean, fucking really bad. Phew, much better. Okay, Infectious Fright made 2 survivors scream. I didn't realize that one of the Nias was recovering the Yui, so I cannot wait for my Nurse's Calling to be better than Tier 1, because I would have seen that. We'll go ahead and slap Yui back down and restart her recovery time. I can tell that both Nias have a lot of skill, so I'm going to use this time to hook Cheryl down in the basement. Now, it's going to take 2 survivors 8 seconds to recover Yui, so hopefully I have enough time to blink right up into their asshole and get some hits. Now, this is a bit of a tough angle to get a blink hit on these survivors, but I'm going to try anyways. Fuck it. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that swing. But I do see scratch marks going down to the basement. So this time I'm going to hit Nia, knowing that she has borrowed time. And I'm going to blink through the window because I know one of these 2 survivors is going to hit the window. Unfortunately, my first blink does not clear the window, so I definitely need to still work on judging how long to hold my charge for a certain distance. Not a terrible blink. Could have been better, could have been worse. Alright, I got 3 injured survivors again, and I'm really applying a lot of map pressure right now. No one's working on generators, and I'm digging this, like, aggressive style of nurse play. This Swift is hoping that I'm going to chase Nia and that she can keep me busy long enough for the 3 injured survivors to reset. Now, it takes 8 seconds to double heal a survivor, and there's 3 injured survivors, so it's going to take 24 seconds. Normally, I would apply pressure to the injured survivors, but I'm playing as the nurse and I'm trying to practice with her, so I don't care about a 4K. What I care about is learning, and I want to take this opportunity to go up against their strongest survivor at Kill Shack, because I struggle with those short blinks, especially at Kill Shack where I can't see the survivor. So if at 24 seconds I don't hit the Nia, well then I'll rotate out, but at least I got some practicing. This is good. This is really good practice. Nia's fucking destroying me right now. So if you know how to defend Kill Shack and do these like short blinks and what to do here, please leave a comment because I definitely want to know, but I'm sure a lot of people want to know this. Okay, the first person just got healed up, so the second one will be about another 8 seconds. And it didn't really hurt me because I just got a hit on Nia. Now I should be charging up for a blink attack, but you never want to do a long distance blink straight through a pallet. That's an easy stun for the survivor. But what I should do is blink to the other side of either one of these haystacks, so if she turns into me, I can get the hit, and if she goes the other direction, I can use my chain blink to hit her there. But I didn't think about that at the time. The best counter to play against the nurse is to use obstacles to block line of sight and then create distance. And that's what I thought she was gonna do here, so I follow her around like a lost puppy. And she makes a mistake, so I make her pay for it. Now, a couple weeks ago, I made a video on how to counter the nurse, and if you're interested in watching that, there'll be a link at the end of this video. And since then, I decided that I wanted to play as the nurse, and I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying this. This is a lot of fun. I want you guys to think about how many times I've knocked down survivors this trial. Can you imagine if I actually had Surge, which is the perk that I want for my build? Right now, Surge would have regressed 3 generators with this one knockdown. But instead I have to waste time and kick this generator with Pop Goes the Weasel. I get a full charge going so that I can get back to the Nia that I hit 10 seconds ago. But then I see this other Nia coming in for the unhook. So I make a good play by looking straight down and blinking in place. But I shouldn't have swung there because that adds an extra second to my fatigue time. And then I lose her and I lose Yui in the corn. And I'm all over the place right now. Even though I see scratch marks, you don't want to just blink blindly, okay? So I'm just going to float my nurse's ass over here and see if I can find the survivor. Oh, hey, what's up, Yui? Yeah, go ahead and teabag. Nicely timed blink stun. Good job, Yui. That's the only thing you've done good all game. And instead of using this time to create distance, which is what you want to do against the nurse, she goes like 20 feet and starts teabagging. I hear Yui crying and camping the pallet at Cow Tree. So I'm a quick learner. I take a few steps to the side and blink through the rock and get an easy hit. I'll try to get a quick hit on Nia, but she's a strong player and this is a strong loop, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time here. Yeah, that's all Nia's going to get out of me. I'm going to pick up the teabagging Yui and throw her ass on a hook. Alright, I'm a rank 1 survivor with a high IQ and situational awareness, so we need to talk about this right here. This Nia right here with the skull cap, she's good, but she's not great, and she'll never be great if she keeps playing the way that she's playing. Just because you have borrowed time doesn't mean you need to pull the survivor off the hook right in front of the killer. I see survivors do this all the time and it doesn't make sense. This Nia has rushed the hook every single time I put a survivor on the hook just to give them borrowed time. And I bet you this Nia is the type of survivor that calls killers tunnelers. But where in this scenario would the killer not hit either one of these survivors? You're pulling the survivor off literally right in front of the killer. Like, are you fucking stupid? Just wait behind a tree 20 feet away. I'm gonna blink somewhere else to another survivor and you can pull Yui off safely. I don't get survivors with BT. They play fucking stupid. Alright, here we fucking go again. I'm gonna give constructive criticism because I want these survivors to get better. Nia and Cheryl just finished the generator in the slaughterhouse, and I'm chasing Nia. So if Nia would just lead me away from the hook, Cheryl could come over here. She could pick up Yui first. It's important that she picks up Yui first because if she pulls Nia off the hook, it's going to give me a notification. So pick up Yui first, then pull off Nia, and then in 16 seconds after that, both Yui and Nia are healed. Again, my friends, it's all about situational awareness. So instead of all 4 survivors being fully healed and alive, we have 3 injured survivors, and I'm about to hook Yui because she teabagged me earlier and I want her out of the fucking game. And that was a good window fake. Again, both these Nias have a lot of potential. I should have known that my second blink wasn't far enough to take a swing. So I need to get better at judging when to swing and when to just fatigue. That was a perfect blink, and I could not be any prouder. And this Nia, she's been timing her vaults when I blink, so instead of swinging, I'm going to double blink back over the pallet. And honestly, that should have been a hit. I played that perfectly. As we approach this pallet, I veer off to the right a little bit so that I can come in at a 45-degree angle, making it so that my turn, when I swing, I only have to go 90 degrees instead of 180 degrees. Now when I downed her, my infectious fright did not alert me that there are any survivors within my terrier radius of 32 meters. So I can assure you that they are on the other side of the board working on that generator. Now even though I have a 3-gen strat on this side of the board, I'm playing aggressive and I want to get hits on survivors. I want to practice. I get a hit on Nia, and I might as well use my Pop Goes the Weasel because I have it. I honestly cannot wait to get Surge, so I don't have to waste time kicking generators, and I can just focus on hitting survivors. Because Nia's already created distance by now, so I'm going to head back to the other side of the board and apply some pressure. That was a really good double blink for me to get to the hook, and it was really good on the survivors to come towards me so that I overshot them. I can tell that Nia's going straight for the window vault, but I really struggle at getting my blink right past the window vault. For whatever reason, I come up short, so it's something that I definitely need to work on in the future. A nurse's calling shows me that a survivor is healing, so I need to be very precise with my one-shot blink. And right now, my nurse's calling is only tier 1, so it can only read at 20 meters. It'll be really nice when I get it to tier 3 and it goes at 28 meters. Do you hear those footsteps? Well, of course, it's fucking Nia playing like a dumbass and coming right behind me to get the unhook. Fuck! Another short blink out a window. So it's really important to listen to audio cues. Because I hear a survivor breaking a totem. Now, I want to talk about this because it's very important. And even though the end result is knocking down Cheryl, I don't play it the correct way. And a lot of new nurses will play it the way that I played it as well. When a survivor is approaching a jungle gym or about to lose line of sight because they're behind obstacles, your natural instinctive reaction is to blink to where you think they're going to go. And that's actually wrong. You don't want to do that. Because whether the survivor continues to run forward or double back, you've already lost line of sight. So you're almost guessing which direction they're going. Now, in this case, right here, I'm able to hear Cheryl cry and use audio cues to judge which direction she went. But that might not be the case all the time. So what you want to do is blink to where you would lose line of sight. That way, if they double back, you hit them with your first blink, and if they continue moving forward, you can get them with your second blink. So as you can tell, I didn't play it correctly, but I was able to use my sense of hearing to adjust and be able to get Cheryl down. I see the other two survivors trying to heal each other. So what I could do, and what I probably should do, is drop Cheryl and just blink right on top of them. But I don't. I just hook the survivor and go from there. This Nia likes to play the pallets, so I remember that and I learned from that. So I'm going to come in at a 45-degree angle in case she vaults the pallet and get an easy hit on her. Infectious Fright did not alert me of the whereabouts of the other Nia, so I can assume that she is outside of my terrier radius and on the other side of the board looking for the hatch. So I'm going to hook this Nia, and with barbecue and chili, hopefully I can see the aura of the other survivor. And if I don't and she gets the hatch, it's not a big deal. I don't care about 4Ks. That shit doesn't matter to me, especially with the nurse, because I'm just trying to practice. Alright, well that's pretty much going to do it for the Nurse's Guide for Beginners. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. That's my focus. I'm an educational content creator. And if you like how I break down my videos, then hit the like button, because the more people that hit the like button, the better off my videos will be in the YouTube algorithm. And leave a comment about anything. It doesn't even matter. I get back to every single comment that's in my channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. I have 334 subscribers right now, and I'm growing really fast. And I really appreciate that, guys. So thanks for all the support.